Before we learn all about brushes, we need to talk about organizing your brushes and in fact, where to get some really good brushes. So I'm going to go into 01 organizing brushes. And this was just so I could have a nice clean space. And I'm going to bring up my two panels. I'm going to go to Window, Brushes, and Window, Brush Settings. Okay. Now the brush settings has all the individual controls for each one of our brushes here. So you can see if I click a different brush, it'll change my brush tip. Or if I go into my Kyle Mega Pack, go to an ink box, I can pick one and you can see it'll change all these settings. But for the most part, we're going to be using, sort of these default brushes. And your brush panel here, your brushes panel, you need to spend a little bit of time organizing them, making folders, dragging them around so that way you can find your most common brushes very easily. In fact, you can see I have a folder here called GR2 brushes. And the GR2 brushes, these are brushes we use in Graphic Principles 2 quite often. You can see there's a watercolor brush and a soft brush, a heavy brush, a couple mixer tools. But there's not a lot of them, but these are the most common ones. So I want you to go ahead and go to the zip file you downloaded earlier. I'm going to go here, and I'll go to right here. You had a zip file .abr.zip gr2 brushes version 1, and by the time you download this, maybe we're on version 2 or version 3. But it's just a zip file. We'll unzip it. And for some reason, when you unzip an ABR file, it sometimes gives you that error, but that's okay. Just hit OK. And now you can see we have .abr. That stands for Adobe Brush. And to install that inside Photoshop, you just double click. And when you double click, it'll add it to the bottom of your brushes panel. Okay. In fact, for some reason, because of the way I made the folders, it put a folder within a folder. So I'm going to drag that out and throw that extra folder away. That way, it's within one click, you can get to all the GR2 brushes. Now, I want you to go ahead and install the GR2 brushes that you downloaded, because when I say go to a grungy brush or go get your soft brush, then it's just a couple clicks away and you don't have to go hunting for something that's the equivalent of what I'm using in the tutorials. Okay. Now, also, quick story. There's a guy named Kyle, and Kyle got really good at building brushes and selling them to other designers. He got so good that Adobe bought his company and hired him to start working on all of Photoshop brushes and the iPad brushes. So what's nice about this is if I click on my little hamburger menu and say on my brushes panel, click on the hamburger menu and say get more brushes, it'll take you to all thousands of Kyle's brushes that are now a part of the Adobe Creative Cloud license. So you get all of his brushes, which used to be hundreds of dollars. And you can see you can download his most recent brushes. The Mega Pack is a good place to start. Watercolors, dry media, gouache, manga. Quick note, manga brushes don't make you good at drawing manga. You have to practice drawing first. But you can see these are all very specific tools, but they don't, they're not going to design for you. They just will help you be creative. So I encourage you to download a few of these and experiment with them. Okay. Going back to Photoshop though, make sure you install the GR2 brushes and take a minute and organize your brush panel.